You've survived. The bills are paid. There's food in the house. And for once, you don't have to count every naira before spending it. But here's the strange thing. You aren't rich. You're not living in luxury. You're simply safe. And after living in survival mode for long enough, safety can feel like wealth. But what does that actually feel like? Welcome to part 2. Stability. This level feels completely different. Not luxurious, not rich, just safe. Your account isn't empty anymore. Maybe you have several months of expenses saved. Your rent is covered. Your basic needs are handled. You can buy groceries without checking your calculator 5 times. Your car breaks down? Annoying, but not devastating. Your phone gets damaged? You replace it. You don't panic. And that tiny difference is enormous because wealth doesn't initially feel like luxury. It feels like less fear. You start discovering something strange. The best thing money can buy isn't necessarily a bigger television. It's the ability to say, I'm okay. You can sleep without thinking about tomorrow's bills. You can take a day off. You can reject a terrible job. You can tell someone, I can't do that, without wondering whether that decision will destroy you financially. Your lifestyle might not look dramatically different, but your mind feels different. You stop living from emergency to emergency. And that's when money starts giving you something priceless. Time to think. You can finally plan. Maybe you start investing. Maybe you start a business. Maybe you learn a new skill. Maybe you start thinking about where you want to be 5 years from now, because you're no longer spending every minute trying to survive the next 5 days. But here's the trap. Stability feels so good that you can become terrified of losing it. You start protecting your lifestyle. You become careful, sometimes too careful. You don't want to lose the job. You don't want to touch the savings. You don't want to go backwards. And that fear creates the next level, because eventually you realize that being safe isn't the same thing as being free. Stability feels like freedom until you realize you're still protecting yourself from going backwards. You have savings. You have security. You can breathe. But there's still a question hiding underneath it all. What if you could afford more than just the basics? What happens when money stops being something you fear and starts becoming something you enjoy? This was part 2. Watch out for part 3. Comfort. Because this is where life starts getting noticeably better.